Woo! We're having so much
Oh,
fun, y'all. Welcome back in. Hello, sister.
hello.
Um, we are here for part two of this epic, beautiful mini series with Alison Love David. If you all were with us last week, you heard us really beginning to crack open this like door. Like if you're double door, right? Like gorgeous wood door, and we're cracking it open to these tipping points in our lives. And then we also closed last week with like Allison really leaning into like loving, owning, finding the frequency in her name. That is, if you add an L and put an E at the end, let's all visualize Allison, and it's all is one. And that this is really become
Ugh.
your thing, your like absolute aligned mission in life. Everyone is one, all beings, everything. We're here. Connect to heart and like connection through the heart. Uh, I'll let you roll with it from here. I feel like you're
Oh,
percolating. Go
oh,
ahead, queen. Go ahead, queen.
thank you. It's funny when you said connection from the heart. It is the heart. It's the heart. When what I see is I see a world where we allow ourselves to share our hearts through our voices and connect heart to heart because we are being authentic. When we bring
Mm.
authenticity into the way that we communicate, then we can let our hearts be touched by each other. And so we need that. And I meet so many people, in the majority of people I meet, and well, maybe it's everyone, but not everyone admits it, is hiding parts of themselves because they're scared for whatever reason, scared of, often it's scared of being ostracized, scared of hurting people's feelings, scared of being judged. And and a lot of that comes around self-critical stuff as well. So, but if we could dare to share our vulnerability, to be everything we are, then I believe that um, it would feel safe if we could all do it. So I have this magic idea of one, two, three, reveal, and everyone reveals who they are. And it's my fantasy. Um, and yeah, but I would love to tell you about this tipping point. It's so exciting. So
Oh, it sounds so juicy.
somebody shared with me that like back in the day, years ago, AOL came up with email. I think that's true. I mean, I still haven't Googled, I just heard it from her. But they did send out discs to people for free in the post. So I don't know if it was like all across America or if it was global. I don't know, but they sent out discs to loads of people, like everybody. And then a few people had email. And then there was a tipping point. And we all have email. So in that respect, I've in that respect, there's a few of us, a few million of us, who are into conscious, connected, heart-centered living. Yeah. And this is going to be a tipping point, and it's going to be normal. It's so exciting. It's so thrilling. And so somebody else said like mobile phones, recycling, organic food. There are so many things that were rare and now they're everywhere. So why not? Of
Mm.
course, that's what we came for.
Whoa.
Mm.
Allison, I feel that so much in my heart. Like I'm so activated just hearing that. Like, oh, we get to be like founding members of the tipping point that changes the universe.
And even this conversation, even every single one of us who starts speaking about it, because so many people are talking about doom and gloom. And I've always had hope that there was another way. Yeah. And
Mm.
like a peaceful revolution, it doesn't have to me, it doesn't have to be a fight. Like we wouldn't would, if we're opening our hearts and sharing our vulnerability, there's no fight needed. It's just like one after the other, we realize that we have so much in common.
Mm.
Wow. Oh, oh, my heart. Oh, my heart.
We're
And
like, let's just
I'm
take a
thinking
moment.
of
I'm
that
like,
and just putting it in. Wow. Wow. We are the tipping point, like right now. Oh, Allison, I know I'm going to speak for you, Jill. For Jill and for me, I know this is just like catalyzing us even more. And I also know that for listeners and watchers, like you just reminded us of our full permission to be that, like full permission. Go be love, go do love, go give love, go receive love. That's powerful because, as you said in our last episode last week, how you get people to free their voices is by reflecting back to them. And that's what I just heard you expressing right now. It's like we express our vulnerabilities, we share our desire for connection, and you're just holding up the mirror and say, see, we all want the same things. See, we all desire that. So let's have it. Let's
Yeah.
have it.
Let's have it.
Let's have it.
Let's have it.
Let's have it now.
Let's
Like
have it now.
20 years from now. Like now is the tipping point, and now, like every moment, every interaction.
Yeah.
Oh, oh, your beautiful heart.
Your beautiful heart.
Oh,
Yeah. There's a
mm.
friend who shared that with me, Mary Thorpe, and so she
Ooh.
probably got someone else, but it's just like, gotta spread that.
Oh, I have so many chills, just chills. Oh, ooh. And I'm feeling like across the universe, the ripples. And I'm hearing like the old Oprah episode. You get a car, you get a car. It's like, and you just got free, and you just got free, and you just got free, and you, and you, and you, and you. All of us, like right now, we can liberate ourselves.
It's so true. And like,
Oh,
I was in the jacuzzi the other day at the health club, and this guy's like, I suffer with anxiety. That conversation is super important. That's that conversation that allows people who you would normally not expect to say those words from their mouths. They have identified what they're going through, and it says, I am a vulnerable person and I can't just be treated a certain way. It doesn't work for me. It ruins me, and I suffer from anxiety. Says I'm a vulnerable human being. It's actually a really important sentence,
mm,
and it needed this mental health, whatever it is, pandemic, whatever it is. Well, just it was always the same, but there's now words for it. Whatever it is, it's like super important.
wow. Wow. What do you think it was about you that gave him the space and the sense of safety to open up that way and say, I suffer from anxiety?
Yeah, I think there are some of us, I wonder if this is you as well, that who are coaches. It's a natural, you might as well be a coach because people talk to you anyway. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, people come and tell you their stuff. It's like, well, I'm going to make use of that. Maybe it's that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I see it as a back to Stacy of like we are all reflections and constant reflecting and for me like what I'm hearing and more so like what I'm feeling because this kind of work to me is a lot of feeling tone like how the body receives. I would just really put it plainly that you've done this work so you are vulnerable yourself, which now allows other people to feel safe and be vulnerable with you. I don't think it's possible if we've not been vulnerable in our own lived experience for someone else to ever feel safe to come and share vulnerable things. And so I want to just, it feels powerful to reflect that back to you right now, Allison, of like, thank you. Thanks for all the depths and the dark nights and the crevices that you've, found in your own self to now be this beaming, open heart, feeling so deeply. So there can be deeper connections in the world. Like, thank you.
I appreciate what
Yeah.
you're saying. And it's interesting because, you know, as far back as I can remember, people would come to me and tell me their problems. And
Mm.
I didn't think of myself as vulnerable or troubled. And it's only like recently I've realized, oh God, actually, I did experience quite a lot of trauma. I didn't know. So
Mm.
so what you're saying to me makes sense now, but even like a month and a half ago, I don't know if I would have agreed with you.
Mm.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow. That's a big, big awareness. And I love the vulnerability of you sharing that now, because I know I talk to people all the time and they're in that space of saying, I've had a beautiful life. Like, I wasn't traumatized. I'm like, it's fine. Like, I don't have a life of pain. And we're going through that. And then as I'm listening, I'm hearing it, I'm feeling it. And it's so very present. And they're just not consciously aware of it. And that doesn't make them wrong. I'm just saying that there are so many people out there who are in that space. You, I heard you say you got a coach and you were able to go to that place and touch the pain and really speak from that place. And it sounds like even put yourself in a position to be even more vulnerable than you thought might have been possible. And that is a magnet. Like, that is a magnet, being able to do that. And I'm hoping that people who are watching and listening can hear your story with that and then at least pause and go, is that me too? Is that me
Mm,
too? Am
mm,
I walking in a space where I haven't touched the reality of my pain yet?
mm. Well, you know, it was my clients, I think, that inspired me to just we bring mirrors into our lives, right? So my clients had experienced some quite awful stuff, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And people I would meet, you know, and then I started to realize that they were reflecting parts of me that I wasn't able to see. And so they're processing their pain, which you can do quite creatively, help me to find mine. Um, yeah, and I think when you've been around people who've had incredible trauma that nobody can refute. Yeah, there's incredible trauma that nobody can refute, you know. Then if yours hasn't got huge proportions to it, one can think that it's nothing, when actually there's so many ways that we can be traumatized. That trauma sounds like such a big word, but actually, so that's where I didn't give it any credence. But then actually, yeah, for it would be lovely if people would be able to own the pain that they've suffered, even if it isn't like war or like, I don't want to mention
Mhm.
other stuff. Just people get triggered
Yeah.
just mentioning and
This
stuff.
is it's
Yeah.
bringing up for me. I used to gosh, years ago now at this point I really started talking about my depression. So I was depressed for well over 10 years, probably 15 years. And I just kept really like putting it out there that depression isn't a like one-way street. And there's a lot of different forms of depression. And most folks didn't even know that I had this. And I just vividly remember like one of my posts, you know, on the social media sphere was me smiling and laughing, like laughing by a pool. And you would think this woman is got it together. This one, you know, and I was just bringing forward and I was depressed. And
Mm,
no one would have known unless
mm,
you were like keen, probably therapist, like really high level coach to see those nuances in my ways of living to be like, hmm, interesting. And so I just, you know, it feels important to share of like, yeah, it's the same with trauma. You know, you could be in a workplace setting and talk down to that can hold this same, you know, it's like there's no weight. I think this is another thing. It's like competition. We're like
yeah.
over
Yeah.
here freaking competing
Right.
with, oh, but this
Right.
happened. Oh, but did you hear?
Right.
But this,
Right.
when I was
Yeah.
15, I'm like,
Yeah.
Like, are we really out to one up each other on trauma? Like, is that what
I
we're really
know,
doing?
right?
But I was depressed. No, but I had depression for 15 years.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Do you know about that?
And
Closet
I couldn't
floor.
even get out of bed. And it's like, and then
Right.
you were laughing by the pool. There's like, yeah. So
Yeah.
this vulnerability shouldn't have a spectrum, but it sort of has. And trauma just shouldn't have a spectrum, but it does. I mean, trauma is trauma, but it does have a spectrum. It's complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is complicated. I think there absolutely is this spectrum, but I think this gets back to like the humanity piece and getting into our hearts to eliminate there's judgment everywhere, to eliminate the judgment of
Mm.
like and immediately going to, but my experience.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
true. Yeah, it feels, Alison, like this mission you're on with love. It feels like what's really important there is like maybe, I don't know, first step or prerequisite or whatever step it is, but there has to be vulnerability first because it
Yeah.
feels like if I don't feel safe to be with you or to express with you, then no, I'm not going to open and be vulnerable. Maybe I don't even know how to be vulnerable with myself because I'm
Absolutely.
not even seeing my trauma, my pain, or all of the things of my life. And so I love that you're bringing forward, like, yes, love. And with that comes complete surrender and openness and vulnerability. No more hiding parts of who you are. You get to be your unique expression in the world. And what I find different about you is that consciously or not, you are meeting those different unique expressions when they show up with love. Like to
Mhm.
have your uniqueness be met with love, yeah, that begets more vulnerability, more openness. That's met with love. Now we go even deeper to more and more and more. And then there is that like radiating wave of just and more love and more love and more and more and more. This is an
Absolutely.
incredible mission.
Yeah, and we got to do it for ourselves. The love really needs to come from ourselves. So what I cultivate with myself and with my clients is this reparenting and to be the love for ourselves that we need
Mm.
to cultivate a kind language and a caring relationship. The one person who's always going to be there for you is you. So sort of a little bit of splitting ourselves into parent and infant and just being all of that. So cultivating a loving inner relationship is super important.
Mm. It feels like that can be like each one of us, we can have that as a mission. We can have that as our own personal tipping point. Like, this is it.
Yeah.
I get to ignite this for me. And then when I do it for myself, I then do it with other people and it becomes that ripple that you're talking about, that tipping point. And I'm curious, as you're helping people all over the world to do this, and listen, I'm a witness to this. I didn't even know you. I knew about you, but I didn't even know you when I showed up to my first workshop with you. And the minute you popped on camera, it's like, I want to tell her everything. I just want to share my whole life. I want to give her the vulnerability of my soul. Like it just was there. And you have done the work, right? So when you're helping people to cultivate this, falling in love with their dreams, falling in love with their voice, falling in love with themselves, to reparent and do all of these things, what would you say? And this may just be putting you on the spot a little bit, but what would you say would be some of like the biggest triumphs your clients talk about from having this experience of freeing and liberating their voices?
I'd say the biggest is this inner confidence that they know who they are and they feel they know who they are. So they have more sense of self, and that reflects in their relationships. So whether it's bringing a product or advocating when people are telling them that they're wrong, whether it's even in dating, just being able to go, oh, hang on a minute, that's not what I want here, and being able to nip it in the bud before it gets anywhere. In terms of marketing themselves, just getting enthused. But yeah, it's more than anything, it's the confidence that they then have, that they share with each other. So yeah, I think often with people, it's something that stops them. Other people's opinions really often has stopped them from just advocating for themselves. But when they know, I think of it as an inner tree trunk. It's like building the seed of self inside to the point where it's an inner tree trunk, and that's magnetic as well, isn't it? When you have a bit of more certainty, you're more aligned and grounded into yourself, then everything changes. So the whole shifts happen, relationships, the business, everything. But yeah, that's sense of self, I think, is daring to advocate.
Be the tree trunk. Oof.
Woo.
This is what's really coming in, Stacey, when you were sharing, and then Alison, just as like all your words like percolating. It's like, if not now, when? Y'all.
Yeah, I got
You
something
know, yeah, please. I think this will be a good wrapping point too for this like part 2 place. So yeah, if not now, when? And let us have it. Let us have it, sister.
I was listening to another podcast, and the guest was called Mo Gawdat, and he's written this scary sounding book that I might read on AI. And if not now, when? Right? So here we are in a world where more and more things are being taken over by robots. Robots are learning. I got it from him, at an exponential rate. They're learning super fast, and they're learning from what we put into the digital world. Right? If not now, when? Right? Is that we can influence how AI develops. If not now, when? Like the thing that will always, how we get replaced in our lives, we more jobs will get replaced, but our unique essence will always be unreplaceable. If not now, when? People are dying all the time. I have friends, one person I know dies every year. We never know what's going to happen. If not now, when? Like legacy, like being able to leave something of beauty, which is just be your influence, your tree trunk expressing itself to one other person, and that creating a ripple effect. If not now, when? Like, let's do it.
Sign me up. Sign me up.
Stacey, I need you to find a rhythm for that.
Yeah.
You just created a whole little melody, Alice.
Something will come in. It's a whole
Legacy,
melody.
what you leaving behind.
Yes, baby, sing it. Well.
Ooh.
If not now, when?
Ooh.
If not now, when?
Hey.
If not now, when? If
Ooh.
not now,
When?
I love that. I love that. I love that. If not
my
now,
heart.
when? Go
Do
be
it.
the tipping point now.
Yeah.
Oh, I keep hearing Dolly Parton's song, but Whitney Houston's version where she starts, if I would let you stay. I keep hearing like, if not now, when? Like just rewriting that song with lyrics around, if not now, when? When do we get to be the tipping point? And I'm like, I feel like I want to go journal on that and go play around with it just for fun.
Just
For fun.
I've started freestyling my marketing messages, singing them. And a part of me has come out of the closet, the one who can freestyle, who's been hiding away for so long, and she's coming. So let's do it. Let's just sing our messages. Let's sing our ideas. It just doesn't have to be a record or a finished product. Just like
You just called me forward.
Well, Stacey, I'll be checking in. Don't worry, Allison. We're gonna make this will come to life. I'll be messaging you.
We'll
do a three-way chat.
Oh,
There
cool.
you
And
go.
Stacey,
Hold me accountable.
you've got such a gorgeous voice, Stacey. So it would be
Oh,
wonderful to
thank
hear these
you.
things coming from you.
That means so much coming from you. Thank you. I so appreciate that. And I also appreciate you in the work that you have done and that I've witnessed myself. Here come the tears, and that's okay. Um, Giving me permission to own that and saying, my voice is beautiful, not by some standard of a record company or some scales on the piano or any of that. My voice is beautiful because it's mine. There was never one like it. There will never be another one. It's mine. It's my remit. It's my gift to myself and to the world, just like yours is, just like Jill's is, just like everybody's is. And my father was in the entertainment industry, blah, 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 blah. And so I grew up with this understanding, which was not correct, but this understanding that in order for you to have anyone say you have a beautiful voice, it has to sound a particular way. You have to be able to vocalize in a particular way. And you have to be able to vocalize that way consistently. Because, like, let you be Aretha Franklin, for example. Not that this would happen to the Queen, but let her have an off moment in a song. Like, we would, she's terrible, blah, 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 because her voice was to your standards off one time. And I also learned that then you can't make mistakes. Your voice has to be perfect and it has to measure up. And so following your work and being in your workshop and knowing what you stand for, that was very liberating for me. And so to hear you reflect that back to me, it's like, you know what? Back in the day, probably not too many days ago, I would have said, oh, no, 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 you have the beautiful voice. No. Um, and now I can receive it and say, thank you. I appreciate that. And if I'm stepping outside of myself, like, damn, you do have a beautiful voice. Yeah, you do. Thank you. And so do you. And so do you. It's not to the exclusion of anyone else. It's just in the inclusion. I'm included in the number of humans
Mm-hmm.
and beings on this planet who have a beautiful voice. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Well said, sister. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mm.
One day I'm gonna sing that part to you.
Well,
I'll
if not now,
vocalize it to
when?
you.
So when
I
you feeling
know.
it, I'll just be here. I'll just be right here. I'll just be. Oh my gosh. So much fun. Such a joy. I'm like for sure going to have the most magical day ever because of this love heart activation, Allison. Thank you so much. All is one.
Thank
And
you.
mm, thank you for your time. We're just so grateful and thankful that you spent some time with us, and to everyone out there watching, thank you for being on this journey. Let us know in the comments, how all of this landed for you. You can reach out to Allison, connect with her. All of her information is down below in the description. Just grab it and find her wherever feels juicy for you to commune with her. And thank you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to be with you two beautiful sisters. Thank you.
Thank you, Allison. Sending you so much love.
We'll see you all next time.